To be the winner of the Rozema Award means that there are people both on the committee as well as at my school here who have supported this endeavor and have recognized that this is something to be honored and celebrated. Since 2009, I have been involved in a program at TDCH called International Block. It was a semester-long program where for about 2 weeks in February, we would spend time preparing, learning about culture, learning about Spanish, and then actually we embarked on an 8-week trip to the Dominican Republic. Where there we were immersed in all aspects of culture, transportation, laundry, food, language, church, construction. We lived with and among the people and tried to understand how culture worked from their perspective. When we got back to Canada at the end of April, we had 2 months where we could dissect, work through, reintegrate, compare cultures, try to understand what we learned there and how it applies here. We spent 2 months struggling through all of that when we came back. In addition to it being a positive experience for the majority of the students, the main takeaway is that cultures are equal and we learned from the Dominicans as much as they learned from us. We learned about trust, we learned about safe space, we learned how to listen, we learned how to support each other, we learned how to be a family in the absence, especially for a while we were gone. And we learned what it meant to care for each other in deep and authentic ways. We tried our best to be their equals. When they were doing a job, we came alongside them. And I think that's how we impacted that community, was to be maybe a little bit of a different example than stereotypically North Americans have a tendency to be. Through that shared learning, it impacted each student's worldview in some way. Most students, at least years afterwards, can say it was a positive, life-shaping experience. One of the most surprising things I've learned after bringing students on this trip is how flexible and adaptable they can be, and also how independent they can be. The students that went on this trip spent time with disabled children in orphanages, went through times of not showering, eating foods that they had never tried before, not being in contact with home, and they found joy in each other and in their inner strength. The general approach of this program fit under the umbrella of the idea of what, so what, and now what. So that fits with the semester in terms of being on the ground and learning, and then experiencing it and dissecting it afterwards. And each assignment also took that approach. Learn facts and details. What does this mean to your life? How does it fit? And what are you going to do with it moving forward? I believe that was an authentic and holistic way of looking at the program. A common phrase we use at TD Christian is learning for service in the light of God's Word. Many programs encompass that, but International Block absolutely encompasses that. Not only do we learn to serve each other within our group in the classroom, we then take that to the next step and we learn how to serve others in the Dominican Republic. And then in addition to that, we learn how to be served by the Dominicans. And all of this is in the light of what God has instructed us as His people to do. This trip experience would not have been possible if it wasn't for an army of people. It is not just me, I just get the privilege of being the face.